morning friends, namaskar. So today we will discuss a very current topic. As we know that G20 summit is going on throughout the year, it will be there, and the government of India, especially the Ministry of Education, government of India, they are highlighting the issues of G20 summit also, and they want that the institutions, universities, colleges, schools and other governmental departments, they should highlight the issues of National Policy of Education 2020, foundational literacy and numeracy and other issues related to education, so that the common people, the layman people should also have the knowledge and understanding of these issues like NEP 2020 and G20 and foundational numeracy and literacy. So this topic has been selected under the program of Government of India that has been named as Jan Bhagidari. Jan Bhagidari itself means that there should be contribution, collaboration of the common people into the mainstream or into the mainstream of education or politics or anything else should be there. So collaborating community resources in education as per NEP 2020 is the topic for discussion. Under this topic, we will discuss that what actually NPE is, its main highlights, characteristics we will discuss. Then after we will discuss that how NEP 2020 is giving importance to collaboration of community into the education. What are community resources, how they can be associated with education and how we can get benefit out of those. All these things we will discuss today in this particular video. So let's start with the things. So in this one we will discuss about the National Policy on Education, its introduction, school education, higher education and community resources. So while we are discussing the introduction of NEP 2020, in 2015 only, Government of India, they have started the initiative towards developing a new education policy for a new era. So after that, continuously working for 4 years, the 4 years rigorous hard work was there, and we have developed a pre-draft of this policy that has been presented in front of government, and that draft has been given to different stakeholders like universities, colleges, schools, teachers, community members like municipal corporation, even to the Gram Panchayat Pradhan. Up to that level this draft has been circulated, and on this draft the comments, the reviews from all the stakeholders has been invited, and after that more than 2 lakh comments and reviews has been received by the department. After that they have analyzed all these feedbacks and recommendations and comments from the people, and then these people have modified the draft, and that draft has been presented in front of the Union Cabinet in 2020, and this has been then approved by the concerned authorities. So Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan, our head of this was the head of and the chairperson of this committee who have prepared the draft of NEP 2020, and so many other people was also there. And the prominent changes which we have done in this policy, the first prominent change has been done, that we have renamed the Human Resource Development Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, as Ministry of Education. Before 1986 also it was named as, it was called National Policy on Education 1986, it was previously called as Ministry of Education, and now again this is being renamed as Ministry of Education. Then this is not only the first policy in the history of India. After post-independent India, we were having previously 2 policies. One was of 1968. Then we will come with the 1986 policy, and then now in the 21st century, for the first time, the first policy of National Policy of Education has been developed in the 21st century, that is called NEP 2020. So it is giving us the vision up to the 2040, that up to 2040 these much changes should be done in the education sector, and the purely India centric education they want to prepare now. So what are our local issues, how we can explore our local communities, local issues, local type of entrepreneurship type of units, local type of businesses, local type of innovation, such type of things are to be developed. And we are trying to develop overall development of the personality of the students with the help of activity based learning, with the help of competency based education, with the help of outcome based education. So all these issues will be discussed in the study in the this particular furthermore slides. So the huge changes, the basic changes there in the structure of education. Previously we were going with 10 plus 2 plus 3 system. 10 plus 2 plus 3 system that has been developed as a national, or we can say common education system, national education system or common education system. Now this system, this structure of education will be replaced by a 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 system. The first 5 years are there. Now the change is there. The previously in the first class, the very beginning of the year, the class number 1, student is admitted in that class if he or she is having the age of 6 years. 6 years of age. Previously that the pre-primary education that kids are getting, it is optional. It is not compulsory. But now after the intervention of NEP 2020, the basic structure will be changed and the student has to be admitted in school, the pre-primary schools. The first stage, the foundational stage, and the age of the student must be 3 years of age of the students must be there. They will be admitted in nursery classes, then LKG classes, UKG classes, and after that they will be entering into the class 1 after 3 years of education, that is called preschool. So this is the foundational stage which will be having 5 years includingly. 3 years in preschooling, pre-primary education, and 2 years of education, class number 1 and class number 2. So this is the basic structure which has to be changed now. Now it is being said also that previously the pre-primary education, to get pre-primary education was optional. Now it will not be optional, it will be compulsory. Each and everybody, whether they are belonging to any of the socio-economic status, they have to admit their students, their kids after the age of 3 years in the schools, which will be called pre-nursery or preschooling or pre-primary classes. And after that class number 1 and class number 2 will be spent in the school only, and all these 5 years will be there. There will be no set curriculum. Playway method will be going on, activity based education will be going on. We will try to make the students under the socialization process and basic type of numeracy, literacy, social sciences, environmental sciences, such type of things, the surrounding area of the students, these type of knowledge will be provided to the students in a playway method. No examination will be there, no hard and fast curriculum will be there, no set or we can say specific particular method of teaching will be there. So in this way we will go with the things. Then come up with the second stage of education, that is the preparatory stage. Its name is preparatory stage. Under this class number 3, 4 and 5 will be included. These classes will be now come under formal education system. So formal education system is there, it means the set curriculum will be there, method of teaching, particular method of teaching will be introduced, and examination will also be introduced. Now the paper pencil examination will also be there, oral examination will be there, and somehow we will make the students ready for performance test also. Again the things will be at the large will be on the basis of activities, competency based education, and playway method will be going on, rather than so many huge bookish knowledge will be provided to the students. After that the third stage will be there of education, that is again of comprises of 3 years, and the classes are class number 6, 7 and 8. So these classes will be there, 6, 7 and 8, 3 years of education. This stage of education is now called middle stage. Under the middle stage, the very gist or very spirit of the NEP 2020 is coming out now. It will be revealed out when we are starting the vocationalization of education from class 6th only. Though these are there in the schools after 10th class, in plus 1 and plus 2 classes, vocational education is launched, but still it is optional. If students are opting for the vocational subject only, then they will be going for the things, otherwise they may not be opting the vocational subjects. But now it will be compulsory. Each and every student, whether they are belonging to any of the residential areas, urban areas, semi-urban areas, metropolitan cities, village area, remote area, whatever the area, whatever the socio-economic status they belongs to, whatever the type of facilities they are having with them, each and every student has to opt one or another vocational subject in the class 6th only. Computer education, IT, mobile application development, coding, carpentry, animal husbandry, iron work, metal work, wooden work. So many type of handicrafts are there. Stitching is there. So embroidery is there. So many type of things are there which has to be introduced in the schools, and the schools has to give vocational education as per their needs of the local area and availability of the resources in their local areas. And on this particular stage, we have to spend a lot. We have to increase the expenditure, and in NEP 2020 it is also there that now we are going to increase the expenditure over education from 4% to 6%. Previously it is 4%, in the round figure it is 4%. Now it will be increased by a 2%, and we will be spending 6% of our GDP on education after implementation of the national policy on education. It seems good, we feel that it is good. Now we are going for more expenditure over education, but whenever we are comparing this one with the other nations, not only with the developed nation, but small countries are also there, like Bhutan. In the Bhutan only, they are spending more than 14%, 14% of their GDP in education. USA, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, China, these countries averagely spending 15 to 20% of their GDP on education sector. We are still far behind, but still we can say that it's a satisfactory news that we are now thinking of for spending more money over the more resources over our education system, that is increased by a 2%. And the maximum amount will be spent over this particular education, this class 6 to 8. We have to develop the infrastructure first for vocational education. Workshop will be developed, and workshop will be developed over the land. We must purchase the land, then buildings will be prepared, workshops will be prepared, then so many equipments, material, resources are required in that workshop that has to be installed, and then instructor will be appointed. Instructors may be appointed on the basis of regular basis also, and on the part-time basis also. Suppose a welder is there in our area, in the surrounding area of the school. One welder is there, but that is very good welder, and he can give the instructions also to the students. Then the school will be having the freedom to appoint that particular guy on a part-time basis in the school, that you should come on this particular time and let the students know how to do welding. Then after doing these things, whenever the instructors are appointed, the transaction of the curriculum is going on, then we have to prepare the examination system for this particular area. At the particular time, we are now not ready to assess the students on their performance, but we are very much expert in assessing their cognitive domain only. We are giving them paper pencil test, written type of test, objective type of test, whatever the tests are there. We are just assessing their knowledge part, but not the performance part. But whenever vocationalization will be there in the vocational subject, that cannot be assessed, their evaluation cannot be done over the basis of these paper pencil tests. So we have to develop the performance test. For performance test, how the performance test will be developed, what will be going on, this task has been done and still going on. The people are associated with, that is CBSE. So CBSE has developed these particular domains. They are developing the things also. If we want to get some knowledge about the things, that how these people are doing the things, so we can see the website of CBSE. I will mention this website name in the description box also. So cbse.academics.in/cbe, this is the website. If we are going to this website, we will see shuffle booklet is available there, resources for teachers are available there. What is actually competency based learning, how to define competencies, how to develop competencies, and how to assess the competencies, each and everything is given there in a very detailed manner, and even the lesson plans has also been developed. So I will give the things in the description box. You can access that website also if needed. Then after, we are having the 4 years of secondary education from 9th class to class 12. Under this stage, what is new, what novelty is there? Previously, from up to 10th class, common school system is going on. Each and every student has to study each and every school subject. But now it will be changed. It will be there. It will be available from 9th class only. From the 9th class only, student will be capable, will be given the opportunity to choose his or her subject according to their own nature. This is the one. And the second one is there, the multidisciplinary courses will be introduced. Now what multidisciplinary is, it means that if a student want to choose physics as a major subject, and after that major subject he want to study some lighter subject like political science, economics, or some of the languages, he will be given the opportunity. He will more focus on physics subject only rather than other subjects. So this is the basic assumption, or we can say basic thing we want to do in secondary education, that diversification of courses will be there from 9th class only, and multidisciplinary courses will be introduced. Student will choose the courses with their own type of nature, their own needs, their own level. They will be giving much focus on that particular subject which they have selected as major subject, not to the other subject. In this way, it will become a truly student-centered system. These are the good things, these are the merits of this particular system, but still there are some of the demerits are also there, or we should not say demerit in the early times, but we can say that some of the challenges are there which has to be addressed. After 10 plus 2, suppose a student is getting out of the school with physics and political science and economics subject combination with him or her. At that time, if the higher education system will be ready to take that student in their institutions, where PCM or suppose commerce subject or arts stream is going on, if that guy will be adjusted there. After getting plus 2 in the chemistry with history, if the governmental job provider sector or private job provider sector, if those sector will be ready to take that student as an employee, these are the challenges. These has to be addressed yet. After addressing these particular type of things, it may be like we can say that this system is good, but it will be proven good or beneficial only and only if we are addressing these two issues: higher education system and job provider sectors. So these are the issues with school education. We have talked about the merits and demerits of the things also, challenges also. So now we'll move further towards the higher education system. So these we have discussed, these we have covered. These 3-year education will be provided via the Anganwadis or pre-primary schools. In the private sectors, pre-nursery, nursery, KG, UKG, these classes are going on. the people who are having a higher socio-economic status, they can avail this particular education in private sector, but so many people are there, they are not able to avail this education for their kids due to their low socio-economic status. And then this will be covered by the Anganwadi schools that comes under early childhood care and education. Now in the present time, Anganwadis are not capable to give the certificate to the students, but in future they will have the opportunity so that they can provide certificates to the students also. Then trained teacher will be appointed there. Some of the curriculum will also be provided to those people, and to the existing Anganwadi workers, some of the bridge courses or training will also be provided. And class number 1 and 2, that will be going on in the regular schools under primary education setup. Then after we have discussed this one, classes 3, 4 and 5, start of examination, activity based learning will be there. Middle stage is there, vocationalization will be started, one of the language will be there, and at least 10 days internship program will be run with the local vocational experts such as carpenters, gardeners and porters, etc. We have discussed these things also. Secondary stage is there, we have discussed in detail. Now the higher education system is there. Higher education system will also be going to change from 3 years to 4 years. Now in the existing system, this is going on that a student is getting admission in this graduation. He or she is going for 3 years of graduation. After graduation, he or she is thinking, now what I should do, what profession I should choose, or what professional training or education I should gain so that in future I will be getting some type of jobs. They are going for as like we are talking about the teachers. Previously they are doing graduation, and after that they are thinking about, okay, let's do B.Ed of 2 years of B.Ed, then we will be securing one of the profession. In future it will not be going on. In future what will be going on, 4 years degree courses will be there, and these 4-year degree courses will be associated with one or another profession. No student will be there for going for the general type of graduation, after which he or she has to look after for some professional training, but the professional training will be associated with the graduation only. Up to the 4 years, the student will be there in the system, and after 4 years he or she will be fully ready to get some of the jobs, or they are fully ready to serve the nation in any of the sector, like governmental sector or private sector, because they have trained in some of the profession. This one is the first characteristics. And the second characteristics, there will be multiple exit and multiple entry system. Multiple entry and exit system is there available. So what it means actually, till this time what is going on, one student, if he has spent 2 academic years in graduation, after that with some circumstances that guy is not capable now to continue the graduation, what will happen? His 2 years will totally be lapse. They will having that student will not having any type of benefit of those 2 years. But now in this system, the multiple exit option is available. So if a student is spending 1 year in graduation, he will or she will get certificate. If the students are spending 2 years, they will get diploma, and on these diploma and certificates also they can get some of the jobs or some of the tasks they can pursuing because they are qualified now. They will considered as qualified on some extent. Then if they are exiting after 3 years, they will getting the bachelor's degree, the simple graduation type of degree, and after that if they are completing all the 4 years, then they will get the bachelor's degree with professional education, like this. So this is called multiple exit and multiple entry system, in which student can exit for the multiple times and they can enter to the education again for the multiple times. Suppose if a student have spent only 2 years in graduation year, in 2028 he has left the college with 2 years of 2 years time spending over graduation. After that in 2030 or 31 or 32, he or she again get the opportunity, the circumstances are now good, they now want to pursue that degree again. So under the multiple exit and entry system, they will be given opportunity to be entered into the third year of graduation, though the gap is there, but still they can be getting admission. So whatever the time now the student will be spending over higher education in graduation, that will never be lapse. That will be continuing after gaps also. So this is the system of higher education. Now, and via this one, the teacher education is also going to be changed. Under the teacher education, two type of system are still we are continuing with two type of system. 2 years of B.Ed degree is also going on, and 4-year integrated program are also going on, that are called BA B.Ed and BSc B.Ed. In central universities, in prominent institution of prominent universities, in regional college of education run by NCERT, and in some of the private universities also, 4-year integrated BA B.Ed and BSc B.Ed program are going on. And now we are going to make a tremendous effort in the field of teacher education while starting ITEP, integrated teacher education program. Now this program, we will be very much surprised and happy to know this particular thing, that integrated teacher education program is now being started, and it will be there in IITs. They have started their system. As like IITs, we know that they are the prominent institution, they are developing the engineers, and those engineers are much different, much advanced from the normal engineers or normal institutions, whichever the provided, whichever developing the engineers. From those engineers, the engineers of IITs are much better, much advanced. In the same line, if we are now developing the teachers under IITs, they will be having much advanced skill with them rather than the normal. So IIT Kharagpur have started the appointments also. People are filling up the forms and all, and maybe they are starting this ITEP from this academic session only, 23-24 academic session. So in ITEP, 4-year integrated program will be there. After 10+2, students have to make the decision that they are going to be teacher or not. If they have decided that they will be teachers, then they will go for the getting admission into the teacher this ITEP program. ITEP program, after entrance test, they will qualify entrance test, and then they will get the admission. Then they will be now, these 4-year ITEP program will be there. The teachers will be trained for all the 4 stages of education, that is foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage, and secondary stage. It is here like this. Then after, we are saying that dual degree will be there. If after 3 years they want to get out of the institution, they may get out of the institution only while getting the degree of that particular discipline, and if they are getting all the 4 years, they will get the integrated BA B.Ed or BSc B.Ed degree with them. Then a credit based system will be there. Flexibility to choose the multidisciplinary subjects can be there, and multidisciplinary environment will also be there. This is ITEP. So now the teachers will be developing IITs also. So this is the things regarding the NEP 2020, the main highlights and features of National Policy on Education. Now we will discuss about the community resources. So community resources are there. Under this, we will discuss that how National Policy on Education is giving much importance to the community as a stakeholder, community engagement, and community participation from the side of students. So weightage given to community and community resources and community engagement in NEP 2020. We will see that how much and in which way the NEP 2020 has given the weightage to community resources. Now under clause number 10.3, page number 32 of National Policy on Education, the policy document, it is written there that the higher education system shall have multidisciplinary institution of higher learning and that offer undergraduate and graduate programs with high quality teaching, research, and community engagement. So this one is the first. When we have talked about the community engagement in this particular document, policy document, then we are coming with the next one, clause number 11.7, page number 34, NEP 2020 document. They are saying that the flexible and innovative curriculum shall be in phase of offering credit based courses and projects in the area of community engagement and service, environmental education and value based education. Again, in this particular way, we are giving much importance to the community engagement. And then after, we are having another one. There is a separate section in NEP 2020 named as student participation. So they are saying that the student are the prime stakeholder in education system. Vibrant campus life is essential for high quality teaching learning process. Towards this end, students would be involving in activity club, sports, culture, art clubs, activity clubs and community service, as per clause number 12.9, page number 37 of NEP policy document 2022. And in this way, whenever we are going through this document of NEP 2020, we will see that 37 times the term community has been used in the policy document of National Policy on Education. So in this way, in the 60 pages document only, the document is of 60 pages, and in this 60 page document, 37 times we are using the one terminology. It means this particular thing has been given utmost importance in this policy. And the community term has not been used in the same way for all the people, but all the times, but it is used as in the various context for various stakeholders in a unique manners. For teachers, for school students, for university teacher and students, for technical people, for other people, it is having a different meaning, different context we have used about the community involvement. So by this one we see that community involvement is given much importance. Now how this will be going on, how will we do this one, we will see. Firstly we will see that what type of community resources are available. So very quickly we will move over the things. Human resource, firstly, the very basic, the very fundamental type of community resource is community itself. The community itself is a resource. There are so many people around the schools, around the universities, around the colleges, around the villages and around the city areas, which will be available for giving us more input, more insight over the educational issues. Suppose there are great musicians are living around us. Some of the great carpenters are residing us. Great mathematicians are there. Though even they have retired also, still they can be covered, they can be included in community resources. Some of the people who have done very good, they have served the nation in a better way in defense services. Paramveer Chakra people are having some other awards they have won. Those people can also be called associated with the school education system, so that student can be motivated in a better way. Then libraries are there. Libraries are always be a community resources. In the city areas, common libraries, public libraries are available. These libraries can be covered under this particular community resources. Then field trips. These are very much important. Now the field trips are there. They are not very much new type of thing. From the ancient India, in the Vedic education only. So on highlights of Vedic education system, I will be there with another video. But still a little bit thing I will give you example of this one. In the Vedic education system also, field trips were very much famous. The community engagement were very much famous. The people, the sons of kings were studying in Gurukuls. Then the system of education was so developed that those kids of the kings, they will in future never be getting the chance to be engaged with the community in this particular way, in the disguised type of way, where nobody knows that this is the king of that particular, this is the son of that particular king. The people around the villages, around the Gurukuls, that particular guy which is going to be king in future, that guy that person was having the chance, the opportunity to observe the society, to observe the people, to observe their working, to observe their life, to observe their economy, how they are working, how the agriculture is going on, animal husbandry is going on, how business, trade, commerce is going on. Each and everything that person can observe in a very unique manner, in a very appropriate manner. For that purpose, they have been sent to the villages for which we called Bhikshatan. Guru were sending them to the villages to go and to get something from the villagers in the form of charity. Teachers were not, they were having all the things with them, but still they were having this system that they were giving the opportunity to the people for getting in touch with the community. So this method has been used there also. In the modern era also we are using this method. The same type of a building, suppose we are talking about some of the building, that building can be visited with multiple type of angles, multiple type of vision or multiple type of views. History can be history student, history they should we should send them to the historical building, historical monument to check the historical fact. The architecture students are there, they can go there for observing that what type of architecture is available there, what type of architecture is there. The students who are studying political science, they can go there and see that how this particular building or this particular monument have given importance or given positive move, or what type of move has been there, movement have been started from this particular history or this particular monument. Religious point of view can also be there. So many type of things are there. Economics, how economy is running via this particular building, directly, indirectly, what type of things are going on. All these such type of things we can do with a single type of field trip. So field trip will be there. We should organize field trips to so many places. We can do this one. Then historical sites are there, art centers are there, museums are there, factories are there, hobby clubs are there. All these people, all these resources are available around us, and these resources will give us the appropriate type of knowledge. Interest of the student will also be developed. Experiential learning can be there, and these will be foster the learning via doing and learning via activities, learning via observation also, direct experience method. All these type of things will be covered if we are going for the community resources association or collaboration of community resources in our education system. So there are some of the suggestions are also there. So but initiatives should be taken from the authorities so that we can be able to appropriately associating the community resources with the school and education system as a whole. Number one is there, we should develop a curriculum in this way so that it will support activity based learning, competency based learning, outcome based learning, outside the classroom learning, etc. Then second issue is there, whenever the curriculum has been developed, so it will be made compulsory and mandatory for each and every student, for each and every level, so that they should be adjoining, they should be collaborating with the community. It should not be on the optional basis, otherwise maximum of the student will not go for the community resources, or they should have the another type of thinking about the things that okay, we should not go, there is a hot temperature is there, we should not go with these things. So many issues are there with our society. So it should be made compulsory. And how to motivate the people to participate in these issues, one more suggestion will be there, like we should give weightage in CGPA or percentage or in the interviews for the jobs and higher education. If this weightage will be provided, automatically the parents, the students, the teachers, they will be motivated to contribute or collaborate with the community service or community type of engagement. Otherwise it will be very hard to do. Then to break the stereotype among the society, In our society, we are living in the conservative society, and society is having so many type of things, like we are having also, sorry to say this should not be said, but still it is true. So the hard reality is that we have to digest this. Caste system is there. People, it is very tough to engage the students with the cleanliness movement or in the slum areas due to caste system also. This is also there. Then so many other things are there. People think that we are very much prone, we are very much we are having a favorable attitude towards the white collar jobs rather than the blue collar or black collar jobs. Why to send the student to society? Our kid now, he or she will go to the market area to observe some slum area, to observe some vegetable seller area. Oh, it's too hot. How our kid will be adjusting? He will get sick. So many type of things are there in our society which are proving hindrance of associating the students with the society. So we have to break such type of stereotypes also. Then lastly, it's a suggestion only. Though I know that it needs so many type of this constitutional amendments also, or some of the administrative type of interventions are needed, but still it is a suggestion. I want to share this one with you people. State to state MOUs may be pursued to foster each other's need. Suppose there are two adjoining states are there, like Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. In Himachal Pradesh, some particular type of trained workers are needed. In Punjab, they are having more developed infrastructure with them, so that they can give education and training to the student in a particular manner. Himachal Pradesh and Punjab can have association with this. Okay, you need such type of workers. We will train them and we will supply those workers or those skill-handed or trained people to you. In this way, both the people, both the states will go hand in hand with the help of community participation or engagement of the community, and we should keep in the center the interest of the society and the people. In this way, much more things can be done. Tourism is there in the state to state. If MOUs will be signed, tourism can be developed also. So many things are there. If we are trying to do the things in this way, it can be done. So lastly, I think a video is going to a long type of video. So there are some steps. I think these are very general things. I will post this PPT on a description box also. You can see there also. The general steps are there. By this, I think we should conclude this topic now. So thank you. Thanks a lot for listening this, and please do like, share and comments. I'm very initial level is there of mine on YouTube on developing these videos. So kindly give me suggestions also, so that I can develop much more things for you people. And by this one, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.